Hi, I'm Eric Ekman, Environmental Resources Supervisor with the City of Golden Valley. I'm here to provide an update on the C-School Wildwood Park Flood Reduction Study, a planning study to explore the next phase of the Medicine Lake Road, Winnetka Avenue area long-term flood mitigation plan to help address flooding concerns around DECOLA ponds D, E, and F. Creating flood storage in the park and school property would help reduce flood levels and flood damages to nearby homes and infrastructure, improve public health and safety, reduce public liability and cost, and preserve economic value. Additional benefits include improving water quality, increasing ecological diversity, developing wildlife habitat for pollinators like bees and butterflies, creating educational opportunities, and enhancing the active and passive recreation for park users. Earlier this summer, the city held a virtual open house through the use of an online ARC-GIS story map. The story map provided a brief history of the flooding problems in the DECOLA ponds area and a summary of the projects completed to date as part of the long-term flood mitigation plan. It also provided an opportunity for you to share and contribute through an online survey and an interactive mapping tool to help understand how the community uses and values Wildwood Park and the C-School property, and to identify issues, needs, and suggestions for improvement. The city received 98 survey responses as part of the engagement, with most of the respondents being regular park users. Your ideas and input help the city develop planning-level concepts, which you'll see in this presentation. If you're interested in learning more, the Community Input Report is available on the city's project webpage. In addition to the resident input, the city met with representatives of the C-School and Robbinsdale area schools to understand the current and future use of the property and to discuss the study in more detail. All of this input helped to identify features in the park that the public values and uses regularly, such as pickleball courts, the playground area, the sliding hill, and the wooded area north of the playground. All of these important features are being preserved in the concepts that we'll look at next. As mentioned earlier, the most valued features of the park are being preserved in all three concepts. The three concepts also show an expanded walking trail that will loop around the new stormwater facilities and connect to the school site and the potentially realigned driveway on Kelly Drive. Finally, the concepts include vegetation restoration with a combination of trees, shrubs, native grasses, and other wildlife habitat. Since this is a flood mitigation study, the project team attempted to optimize flood storage to achieve the maximum reduction in flood levels around DECOLA ponds D, E, and F, with the goal of developing approximately 10 acre-feet of flood storage to benefit the surrounding neighborhood. Based on your feedback, the concepts include three distinct options for flood storage. 1. Above-ground dry storage. 2. Above-ground wet storage along with some underground storage. And 3. An all-underground storage option. One thing to note as we view these concepts, although underground storage has the least amount of visual impact because it is out of sight below the park, it is more than double the cost of the above-ground surface storage options. Ultimately, one or more option, or even a combination of these options, may move forward for further evaluation in the engineering feasibility study set to begin this fall. Concept 1, dry surface storage, aligns most closely with the preliminary project identified in the long-term flood mitigation plan completed in 2016. This concept relies entirely on above-ground storage to lower flood elevations around DECOLA ponds D, E, and F. This option creates the most visual impact and change, creating a prairie, a wet meadow, and a turf area that are lower than the existing ground elevations we see today. These areas would be restored with different habitat types based on the frequency of flooding. For example, the wet meadow would hold water most often, while the prairie and turf grass areas could be designed to remain dry during most rain events and hold water during larger storms. The restored turf area in the central portion of the park could be utilized the same way it is today when dry. To maximize storage, Concept 1 proposes a narrowing of Duluth Street and Kelly Drive adjacent to the project area, but will still allow for parking on one side of the street. Because Concept 1 relies entirely on above-ground storage, It is the most cost-effective of the three concepts, and generally aligns with the planning level budget put forth by the city and its funding partners, based on the long-term flood mitigation plan. Concept 2, wet pond and underground storage, creates flood storage using a combination of both above-ground and underground methods. This concept includes the creation of a wet pond in the eastern portion of the park that can provide both water quality treatment as well as flood storage. In the northwest portion of the park, the underground storage system would provide flood storage, while the turf area on top of it would be restored at an elevation similar to what we see today. To maximize storage, this concept also proposes a narrowing of Duluth Street and Kelly Drive adjacent to the project area, and like Concept 1, would still allow parking on one side of the street. Approximately 1/2 of the flood storage provided in this concept would be underground. Therefore, this option is estimated to be about twice the cost of Concept 1. Concept 3, underground storage, relies entirely on below-ground flood storage. This concept allows most of the open space in the park to be restored as turf grass and would appear the most like today's conditions. This concept does not require the narrowing of Duluth Street or Kelly Drive to achieve the target storage volume. With all storage provided underground, this concept comes with a significant cost, approximately 3 to 4 times the cost of Concept 1. Your feedback on these planning level concepts is important to the City of Golden Valley and its project partners. As stated earlier, one or more option, or even a combination of options, may move forward for further evaluation in the engineering feasibility study set to begin this fall in cooperation with the Bassett Creek Watershed Management Commission. What we hear from you today will be used to help inform and refine the concept plans. Please submit your thoughts and comments by October 2nd, 2020. Include what you like or don't like about each concept, or any other questions or concerns you may have. A link to a form to submit your comments is posted on the project webpage. The results of this planning level study will be used to inform the engineering feasibility study set to begin this fall. The feasibility study will be completed in partnership with the Bassett Creek Watershed Management Commission as part of its capital improvement program. There will be more opportunities for engagement this winter as the study progresses and the plans and costs are further refined. The watershed is hoping to wrap up the study in spring 2021. Thank you all for your time and for being part of this important planning process.